Hello and welcome to The Nest. My name is Cecilia Mweni. The Nest is a program that talks about parenting and basically demystifying what parenting is all about. On today's show, we want to talk about clinginess. When is it too much? When is it okay? And when does it stop? Well, joining me on the program is one parent. I'll let him introduce himself.
Thank you so much. My name is Steve Amiri. I'm married and I'm a father to a daughter called Pendo. She's 3.5 years old.
Wow, Pendo is a beautiful name.
Thank you.
Okay, so tell me, Amir, have you had problems with clinginess with Pendo ever since you had her?
Yes, it's actually been there for quite a while. And at some point I would get disturbed because it was very difficult to get out of the house. Every time you tried to move, she'll be there holding on to you. Even if I was to move to another room, be it kitchen or another bedroom or even the store, she would always be there. She would want to be by my side. Right.
Okay, so was she more clingy towards you or was she more clingy towards the mom?
She was more clinging towards me than the mother.
Oh.
It was very easy for the mother to leave the house. In fact, she would wave bye to the mom, but it was extremely difficult for me. So even before I had maybe to say I'm checking out of the house, I would have to spend quite some time with her before I'm able to get out of the house.
Wow. And why do you think that was happening? What was the main reason why?
At some point, I think I spent more time with my daughter than the mom. She was working away from where we used to stay. So I spent more time with her. And with all due respect, I think I was more playful with her than the mom. So every time I was at home, we would put the pillows, play, run around the house. And I think maybe in the process we became so much attached together than the mother. Right.
Okay. Is there any point you thought it was maybe negative?
At some point I was afraid because I thought maybe she wouldn't be able to relate to other people as much as she would to me. And also it made me uncomfortable whenever I left the house because I would always imagine, how is she okay? So I would call severally. And even when I came home, when I opened the door, she would run to me. And I would imagine how was the day between her and the nanny. How do they relate? Yeah, because if there is no any good relationship between the two, you tend to think maybe she doesn't feed well, maybe she's not able to express herself nicely to the nanny. And so it gives you that sense of worry, as in, is everything okay? Because ultimately I cannot be in the house 24/7. At some point I will have to move out. So it becomes a bit of a worry. Yes.
I think yours is a unique story because most of the time when I hear about this, it's normally the mothers who are mainly worried about their children. But I think you're doing a great job as a dad.
Thank you.
So let me ask, has it changed with the years? As in, was she more clingy when she was younger? Now she's how old, sorry?
She's 3.5 years now.
To 3.5.
Yes,
Now
yes.
just tell me the transition from when she was younger to up to now. How has it been, the clinginess?
It has subsided, but gradually. And I think now that she's in school, that has typically changed. But ultimately, when I became concerned about the same, yes, we would spend more time with her when I was in the house. And maybe if I wanted to leave, I would call her, we would talk. I would ask her what she would want me to bring for her when I come back. So at least she felt well. She had to release me for I to be able to bring her something back when I come. But I think over time we decided, well, it's important for us to be able to be together and play together. And you know, if it's listening to music or doing things together in the house, so that she gets used to other people as well, not only me, but also the mom and the nanny. And I think over time it grew gradually. She became comfortable with them as well. And eventually when she went to school, now that she's in school with other children, at least that one has a bit subsided considerably.
Okay, so basically it ends at some point.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yes.
What would be your advice to maybe other parents who feel like, you know, they're getting tired of the clinginess, you know, what do they do? Do they despair, or as you say, it will end at some point?
Yes, it will. And I think the most important thing is to be able to understand the child. I mean, it doesn't mean that the child doesn't love the other partner as such, but maybe it's because of the relationship in the house. And maybe it's because of how you also relate to the child. So I think it's important to take that consideration to be able to understand your child, and also to be able to know that it is important for them to also form a relationship with other people, so that it's not just you, but also others as well. But more importantly, the social setting. You should give your child that bit of independence, that they should be able to do things on their own, so that they don't really have to rely on you at each and every other given moment, that they can be able to also rely on themselves and do things for themselves. That way, I think it brings a bit the issue of detachment right to play.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me just pick up on what you just said about the detachment and the independence. How do you teach independence to a child?
Now, that is why I'm saying, personally, I think at some point I felt maybe because I was there for her, playing with her each and every other time, I should have also given her time to do stuff on her own. Give her toys and let her play by herself, let her do stuff by her own, not just being there. Because, there's that aspect of trying to have a hands-on sort of approach to your kid. You want to do everything for them, even for the things that they can do for themselves. So I think it's important to also give them that ability to give them that freedom to do it for themselves. Yes.
Okay, so what I'm getting from you is that we need to understand our children.
Right.
One, we need to give them time as play with them.
Right.
And we also need to teach them how to be independent.
That's very true.
Wow, those are very good insights. I'm hoping we're listening at home. And for those of us who are very worried about having clingy children, as Amir says, it will come to an end. When we come back, we'll have an expert who will basically give us the psychological view of all this clinginess and how to deal with it. This is The Nest. My name is Cecilia Mweni.
Or even when you're there at home with the caretaker, you can be able to notice their relationship. The child is running away from the caretaker. Yeah, then you can be able to tell there's something wrong here.
Welcome back to The Nest. Before the break, we were talking about clingy children, and our guest Amir was sharing with us about his experience with clinginess. Well, joining us now, we have another guest. I'll let her introduce herself.
My name is Margaret Mainge, and I'm a counseling psychologist.
Okay.
Yes.
So, Margaret, we've been talking about clinginess, and I'm wondering, when does it become a bad thing? When does clinginess become bad?
Actually, clinginess, what we call it in psychology, is a separation anxiety. What it means, usually when a baby is born, they think that they're one with the mother. So, but with time they develop and grow, and then they realize they are separate from the mother. So then anxiety comes in. So they're able to realize that mother has gone and is away from them. So definitely that's a huge shock for the child at that tender age, because all they know is that the mother and them belong to they're like one, joined together. But this is a developmental stage, and parents shouldn't really be concerned very much. It actually happens because it's natural for a child to feel anxious. Yes.
So does it ever become negative at any point? As much as it's developmental, does it ever become negative?
If it's excessively, which in most cases it doesn't happen, especially depending on how the parent raises the child. Because at the very formative age, actually the parent should train a child that they are not always there. For example, if they have a caretaker, they should introduce the baby to the caretaker such that they take turns to take care of the child. when the parent is present, such that they give the caretaker the baby to take spend time with the caretaker. That way the baby realizes this caretaker is trusted. And if the caretaker is trusted by the parent, then why not? Why can't I trust? So you find, so when the mother or the father leaves, probably goes to work, and they're already used to the caretaker, then they feel comfortable. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's one of the things that Amiri talked about when you're saying that we need to introduce them to other people,
Right.
so that they can be more comfortable with other people.
Yeah, that's true.
My only worry would be when now every time you come home you realize that this child is crying extra, you know, and when should you get worried? Like when they're screaming, when you leave, when you come back, it's like, you know, I don't know. When do you tell now it's been, the child has been abused, for example? Because there's sometimes when you think it's separation anxiety, but it's not that. It's probably abuse. When do you tell that difference?
You'll definitely be able to tell, because again, you know, there's a normal behavior of a child. If it's excessive, if you can notice, you know, when you come in, the child has changed, or even when you're there at home with the caretaker, you can be able to notice their relationship. The child is running away from the caretaker. Yeah, then you can be able to tell there's something wrong here. Again, that's why it's very important for a parent to always spend time with their child. That way you're able to tell, you know, child signs, to know when your child is happy. For example, if they're smiling, you know, the body language will always tell you how the child is. Crying, you'll be able to tell, differentiate different types of crying. For example, you can tell if the child is crying because they're hungry or they need to be changed, but you can only do that if you spend time with your child. Yeah, whereby you respond to their need and their cry. So when they're crying, you can be able to tell, this kind of cry, the baby is wet. This kind of cry, the baby is hungry. Yeah, and then you'll be able to differentiate and tell something is not right. So if the child is so distant from probably the helper, then you'll be able to distinguish as a parent that something is not right here.
Okay. Maybe, Amir, if I bring you in on the discussion,
Right.
did you ever have a time where you felt like something is not okay? Like
Right.
especially with introducing them to somebody who's new?
Yes, and actually that was a concern. I also tend to believe maybe it's one of the reasons as to why some of the kids become very clingy. Because there are moments when you just open the door and she runs to you, but then even as you look at her, she's teary, and you're wondering, could something have gone amiss while I was away? And I don't know if that one does apply, but I tend to believe maybe it's one of the reasons as to why kids can be clinging.
So
I
have you
don't
ever
know.
had like to fire anyone because of that? For you?
Yes,
For you?
yes,
Oh,
yes,
okay.
yes.
What happened?
Yes, we've had, because we actually realized the relationship between the caregiver, the nanny, and our daughter was not really mutual. She was sort of afraid of her. Yeah, she would want to be away from her as much as possible, even when we're in the house. And I think at that point we felt, okay, no, there's something that's not right. Yeah, yes.
So what would be your advice to parents on such issues?
Okay, I think I would like parents to be aware, actually, as children they grow, they face challenges, or they're going through stages in their life. Actually, from formative ages to the time we grow old, we're going through 8 different stages. And the very first one that they go through is they're actually negotiating a crisis within them. For example, I'll give you a senior child, an adolescence, what they go through. An adolescent usually will be looking for a career. What's their career? That's an example, a simple example. So basically, a child, we might not be able to see or they don't talk, but they're also going through a certain, we call it a crisis. They're trying to negotiate. It's very important at the very formative age, especially from birth to a year. What a child is usually negotiating, they're looking for trust in the world. Yeah, and if they negotiate the trust well, they're able to understand that the world is a safe place. that they are living in, and they're able to trust people. And how do they get that trust from the parents who care for them? You know, are they responsive? When I cry, does a parent respond to me? So they know, oh, this is a caring world that I am in. So from a very early age, they're actually learning and actually developing even their personality. You can tell from that. So they're able to tell, this is a good person that I'm in, this is a good environment, and I'm being loved and cared for. So a child is able to pick all that. So you'll be able, as they grow, you'll be able now to tell. They'll behave differently because, of course, they will not smile, because that's how they communicate as a language. They'll smile or cry when things are good and not good. So if you see a sign, actually, when you come in and you see a child, you are really over concerned about their behavior, that's telling you what the child is going through. They don't trust the environment that you've put them in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking about that trust from 0 to 1 years, and I'm thinking about sleep training, for example, where you have to. Sometimes parents say that sometimes you cuddle the kid to sleep, but then now sometimes you'd have to leave them on the bed to learn how to sleep by themselves. So there are those two different schools of thoughts. And I'm thinking one of them, it looks as though if you keep on cuddling the child, they'll become clingy. Then also if you separate them, they'll also become clingy because of now the anxiety, of the separation. So what would you recommend, for example, like for in terms of sleep training?
Sleep training, actually, those are parenting styles, and everybody comes with their own parenting style, so there's no one right. So basically, it's what the parenting style a parent chooses. There are those who prefer, to hold their child throughout. But at the end of the day, what are you training your child? That you're always there.
Yeah.
So definitely that will bring, a huger separation crisis than a child that you have trained that it's not always that you're there. Sometimes you put them, or sometimes you leave the child with someone else and go and do a certain task and come back. Again, you're training the child that it's that whenever you disappear, you come back. Remember, the child is not reasoning like you. The child's mind is still developing. So actually, at a very tender age, they tend to think that if you disappear, you've gone, you've left, you've gone to China and you're not coming back. Yeah. But if you play games with them, like hide and seek in the house, or maybe you can hide their favorite toy and then, produce the toy to them. That way they start learning that, people actually, disappear and they come back. So with time, they know that actually if you disappear, you'll be able to come back. So it's actually a parenting style, so that you make a choice, and it's out of your awareness that your behavior is actually also impacting on how your child will behave later in life.
Okay. So what I'm getting from both of you is that we need to spend more time with our children, understand them, learn their behaviors because they also have feelings, and that we need to teach them how to be independent.
Yes.
Okay. So maybe we could have a final word from both of you.
I want to believe that as a parent, you get to be a teacher to your child, but at the same time, you also become a student. It's a learning experience. So I think it's two-way. And the most important thing is also to be able to understand your child as much as possible. And also, in as much as you deserve to be respected and courteous, you should also be able to show them the same courtesy and respect by being polite and gentle as you address them. Right?
Yes, I think parents should spend quality time with their babies. That way they're able to understand what the babies are communicating, and they can also be able to train their babies such that the baby can learn that if the parent is not there, they are safe and the parent will come back. That way, they are able to provide a trusting and a warm environment for the child, such that when they go to work or when they leave, the child is comfortable.
So I'd like to thank our guests, Amir and Margaret, for joining us and teaching us so much about parenting in terms of clinginess. Maybe Margaret, as we wind up, maybe you can give us your contacts for those mothers or parents, any parent who would want to get in touch with you.
Okay. I'm a counseling psychologist with behavior modification and life skills consultancy. I'm situated on Thika Road in Dome Estate, and you can be able to reach me on my on the telephone number 0722 802966. You can also be able to contact us on our Facebook page, Behavior Modification.
Okay, Behavior Modification. Okay, on Facebook.
Yes.
Okay, and on at Thome you said it's.
Yes. Yes, in Dome 5. It's on Thika Road, just right opposite Garden Estate.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So thank you so much for that.
Okay.
Yeah, we look forward to having you again for our other shows.
Right.
Right. So I don't know about you, but I've had a lot to take home today. One of the things that I've taken home is that we need to teach our children how to trust other people, so that when you're not around, they don't feel unsafe or insecure. Something else that Amir also talked about is teaching them to be independent. We need to teach our children to be independent. That way, then we don't have to worry about them clinging on to us, because they also have their own life, their own individual person. And probably the last thing, maybe you can remind me, what was the last thing that we talked about?
Trust.
Trust, yes. Trust was the first thing. Trust, independence, and then spending time with your children, right? You need to spend time with your children as a parent, so that they can feel loved also, so that they don't always have to feel that separation anxiety. So we always want to know what you're thinking and what you feel about our topics that we discuss here. And this is what you had to say about clinginess.
Kulingana na mtoto awe anapenda sana baba ama mama, inategemea na venye mna handle yule mtoto na venye mnamzoesha. Kama utakuwa na uchoyo kumpeana hata kwa watu wengine, either majirani, kulingana venye unamhandle, sasa itafika mahali yule mtoto atapendelea side moja, either ya mama ama ya baba, kulingana venye wewe mwenyewe unambeba. Unaona, na wewe mwenyewe venye unajibeba. Kama utakuwa na uchoyo naye, atakwamilia hiyo side kulingana venye unamchukulia.
Kulingana na mimi, naona makosa ni ya mzazi, kwa sababu mtoto ukianza kukua mdogo lazima uanze kumzoesha, na kuna wale wazazi pia wapendi kupeana watoto wao, wanapenda kuficha watoto kwa nyumba. So mtoto anabaki amezoea watu wa nyumba peke yake, azoi watu wa nje. So ukimpea kwa mtu mwingine atalia. Mama angekuwa anampeana kwa watu, angekuwa amezoea watu nje.
When a baby clings, it's a mother's fault, because there are some mothers who can't let their babies to be held by anyone else. So when you want to hold that child, he or she doesn't agree, because he or she should do the mother, such that she or she can't agree to be held by anyone else. It's a mother's fault.
So those were your views on clinginess. Well, coming up next is the shop and swap segment. Do you have any baby stuff that you want to sell or swap? Please do send us pictures on our WhatsApp number and the number on your screen. Thank you for joining me on The Nest. Remember, The Nest is a program that talks about parenting. And parenting isn't only about the mothers, it involves the daddies and the caretakers too. And as Africans would say, it takes a village to raise a child. So, would you want to be part of this show? Please do share with us your experiences or write to us on the numbers on your screen and on our social media platform, CTN TV. My name is Cecilia Mweni. Bye-bye.